Parshas Korach, Tafshin Pei Gimel. It's going to be very difficult to understand the nature of this Korach. Actually, we're only going to stay on the beginning of the pasuk. 99% of the share will be on the first two words, Vayikach Korach. Korach took. The Gemara, the Midrashim, the Zohar ask who he took. I'm going to show you in the pasuk. What did he take? Why is he not mentioned in the pasuk? The pasuk kind of make a secret of what Korach took. We all know the story of Korach. The story of Korach comes after the unfortunate story of Tisha B'Av last week with the Meraglim. What was the reason of the Meraglim? What was the punishment so stringent? Because they sold them out. Sold them out with what? With Lashon Hara, Moitzi Shemra. There's no right and wrong in this. Whenever something bad comes through the mouth is soiled. Oh yeah, but he started with me. He said this, I responded to him. No reason. This is when a person is tested in his bitachon, in his emunah. When a person sees something unjust to his eyes happening to him, because it happens through, if it would have occurred naturally, we would accept it. You know, it's bitter, but it's from Hashem. However, because it comes out through a friend of his, and he's being offended, not that this, I'm going to give, I'm going to find almost an excuse for the offender, chas v'shalom. However, a person should always keep in mind that at this moment, his emunah is being tested. He is on the worst possible test. We stand, the emunah is that big pillar on which we stand, and it's shaking. It's shaking. And now it's going to be up to you to decide, are you going to fall or are you going to stand? It's going to shake. But Hashem said you can stand, you're not going to fall. Falling is up to you, not up to Hashem. What about that person that offended me? That person is a Rasha Merusha. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is only using who are bringing punishment. Only evil spirits. Who's offending you? Who's doing something evil to you? An evil spirit. So you know that someone that comes to offend a Jew is already an evil spirit. And if you had known what happened to you that we spoke about last week, that he has taken all your Gehinnom up to this point, and you have taken all the schuyas. Man, that's a great deal. A little bit of offense, and head goes better than Yom Kippur. Every bad deed you have done so far has disappeared. We're not going to come into account on the day of judgment. But these thoughts don't occur, when you get offended, because right then your heart is taking over your head. And the training is your head should always be in control of your heart, not the opposite. So we have learned the lesson even the week prior to this with Miriam. Not even talking bad about Moshe Rabbeinu, talking out of concern about Moshe Rabbeinu. Why did he divorce his wife? Unless something was wrong. We know that someone who went with the Shikta, with the Goya, he cannot enter Eretz Yisrael. He will not enter Eretz Yisrael. And if he enters Eretz Yisrael, in the Sfarim it says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu make mechiles, he makes tunnels on the earth, and his body leaves Eretz Yisrael. Oh, he may have the tombstone on its place, but he's not there. You can open it, he's not there anymore. So Eretz Yisrael doesn't take these people. So since Eldad Umeidad had prophesied that Moshe Rabbeinu will not be buried, we said that obviously he had failed with the Isha Hakushis, the wife of Nicanor from the king of Cush. Okay, what happened to Miriam? She was leprosy. Right away, she got harassed. Someone who speaks Lashon Hara gets punished right away. We've seen it in the Pasuk, we've seen it in the Shir. We even asked the question the following week, because it was at the end of the Parsha of Baloischa. How come the Meraglim didn't learn? However, now, do you think we should ask the question again? How did Korach didn't learn? How much more do you need? You saw the Nesim, the prince of the tribes, die before Hashem for talking bad, not on Moshe Rabbeinu, on the land of Eretz Yisrael. And now you come out, you have the guts, you have the chutzpah. What is your cheshbon? If Korach was an idiot, I would have said he's just an idiot. So what was the cheshbon of Korach to say, what happened to Miriam cannot happen to me? What happened to the Meraglim doesn't happen to me. Who was Korach? The Gemara says in Sanhedrin, of all the money gathered in Mitzrayim, you remember he took, Yosef was able, because they had the crops that they had kept, the farmers, after he announced them that there's going to be 7 years of famine, they started also keeping crop and everything, all rot. So they came to Yosef and they had to buy from him. All the money of all the lands around ended up in the hands of Yosef. And he hid it in 3 places. One was found by Korach, one of the treasure, and this is how Korach became the richest man in Eretz Yisrael. One was found for Antoninus, Rabbi Akiva, how do you call him in English? I don't know. Antoninus.
Mark Anthony.
Mark Anthony. Who said that? Who was that?
It's me. It's me.
Oh, it's you. Thank you very much. I'd like to say thank you.
Yeah.
Mark Anthony. And that's how he became very rich. And the third one is kept for the tzaddikim at the end of time. I'm scratching my head. If Korach is that bad, since you can see there's only 3 treasures, and 2 of them, I mean, one you're gonna see, it's kept for the tzaddikim. This tells you Korach must have been on a very high level. Why? Otherwise, why would HaKadosh Baruch Hu reward him with such a tremendous present? Tremendous. The Zohar Kodesh explains who was Korach. Korach was the head of the Levites. He was part Since he was Bnei Kehas, he was part of those that were carrying the arch, the Aron HaKodesh. The Aron HaKodesh, you know how they used to carry him on the shoulder, meaning through the two sticks on both sides that were sticking out, they were carrying it. And when someone was not exactly perfect, there was a sparkle coming out of the stick and burned that person from the inside. Kill him. You could not approach the Aron HaKodesh unless you were perfect. When enemies used to come, why did they used to take the Aron HaKodesh with them to war? Because the Aron HaKodesh was shooting boop, 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 and killing them all. Before Bnei Israel even had an opportunity to approach, to go in combat, the Aron HaKodesh had killed them all. And Korach was the highest of all those carrying the Aron HaKodesh. Korach, the Zohar goes above that, was the only person on earth that was made to the image of the upper person. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu compares him to himself. Korach was designed exactly like HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like Kutcher Barich. Wow. 1 second. That person? Meaning he was a figure already in Bnei Israel. Why would you go out? You might be number 3 of Bnei Israel, but you are number 3 of the highest level nation. But now, what do you want exactly? You're going after Aaron, after that Moshe, and after that Hashem. So you want the Kehuna. So you want to be number 2. You're not satisfied that you're the wealthier Jew of all Bnei Israel. You're not satisfied that you're way above all the prophets, all the Nevi'im, way above. You're right under Moshe and Aharon. You're up there, totally up there. Okay, fine. Let's say he was still tempted. But you're such a great person and such a learned person. He was the Rosh of the Sanhedrin. He was the head of all the 71 judges. He knew more Torah. You know what the Gemara says in Sanhedrin in order to be named? I'm going to find the Lashon because this is here. The Gemara Yud Zayin Amud Aleph says about who can be named judge of the Sanhedrin. Has to be tall. He has to be extremely intelligent. He has to be beautiful. He has to be also a certain age. I mean, not young. He has to know all witchcraft. He has to know the 70 languages. And Rabbi Yehuda adds, they have to be so great in Torah that they can convince you with their debate, with their exploration, with their thesis, that even a sheretz, an insect, is tahir according to the Torah. Even though we know it's tameh, it says here, but they have to be so great in Torah that they can prove you with psukim, with proof, with logic, with everything. This is the greatness. We're talking about here an angel. Korach, you had everything. What did you do? You went to recruit the head of the Sanhedrins, the other heads. Then you went to recruit the prince of the tribes. I mean, these guys are freshly named. Didn't they see what happened to their, I don't know if they were related or not to the others, but they're from the same tribe. Somehow they're related. Didn't you see what happened just last week? How can you join the club? All right, Korach, we don't understand. But let me ask you something. How do you join the club? Are you not scared for your life? How do you think that you are going to be prevented from punishment? Only they got punished, but not you. This is crazy. In other words, now I'm going to come back to our lives a little bit here. When a person feels offended and he's going to says, you know, I'm going to make it right, and you're going to start a machlokes with someone, hold it. You got to hold it. You're not Korach. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to judge you to the same level. But we are being tested to the core at that point. Not to start to keep our belief that everything comes from Hashem, and not to start a machlokes at any cost. We, today, 2023, the year the Mashiach is going to come, we're talking about this. You want to tell me that the door of Korach, the biggest door we've ever had in Am Yisrael, was not able to sustain and see through such a simple test? How can we understand, but they did not understand? How can it seem clear? Yes, after fact, everything becomes, easy to rationalize. But no, it's not true. We're being tested in our lives. Many people are being insulted and shamed in public, and they don't open their mouth. They don't open their mouth. We brought the story of the one who sent a present to someone who insulted him. I can tell you that Reb Chaim Brisk says about his father, the Beis Halevi, who was a Rosh Hashiva in Volozhin. Someone came to his face and told him, "Who do you think you are? You think you're Talmid Chacham?" He stood up before him and he bowed down his head and he was mekabel. He didn't say a word. The Beis Halevi. And when the guy finished, he says, "You have to know I'm moichel you." And he ran after him, and he always had a dad. It was a moichel really fully not, and he was moichel him. How long ago was that? The Beis Halevi, not too long ago. Now we're talking about Korach. This guy could go between heaven and earth, at will. You could not foresee such a simple thing that any of us, can understand. And what happened to you? Okay, you can be wrong as a one person. You get offended. Bad day, whatever. But you surrounded yourself with 250 of the greatest people of Israel. Let me rephrase that. You surrounded yourself with the 250 people, the greatest we've ever had, or some of the greatest we've ever had. Hello? Is there no one there that has Yiras Shamayim? Obviously, they were all tzaddikim. How do you transit from a level, and that's the core question. How can a person transit from the upper level tzidkus to the lower level of, basically, to the Gehinnom, to the Nachash, the serpent? You took the work of the Nachash, you copied him, so you go end up with him. A person digs his own hole. A person says his own verdict. Obviously, there's another layer here that the Ari Kodesh brings, and I don't really want to go into it. That but it's definitely one of the big reasons behind it. But you have to know that there is another dimension. Moshe Rabbeinu was the Gilgul of Hevel. The good of Hevel. So let me go. I didn't go into didn't show you the pasuk yet. Holy shit. So we see here only on these two words, the whole share will be, and this is the follow-up. You see the color. This is just the follow-up of the thing. And the other thing I'm going to touch is the title these people are given. It says, okay, so let's read the pasuk. Vayikach Korach. Korach took Ben Yitzhar. He's a son of Yitzhar, Ben Kehas, Ben Levi. The Gemara dashen the whole thing. Why is it? Why do we bring the yichus and stuff before Yaakov? Because Yaakov didn't want to be mixed up. But I'm not gonna go into that. V'dasan v'aviram ben Eliyav, and dasan v'aviram the son of Eliyav, ve'on ben Peles ben Reuven, and on the son of Reuven. Why? Because he was right next to the Reuven was right next to the place of Korach. That's why he says in Chazal, if you're in a shul, never to daven next to a Rasha, because your tefillah also won't be accepted, because he has an effect, he has an aura, and even if you're a tzaddik, the tefillah won't be accepted. So don't sit, never sit in the four arms of a Rasha. Vayakumu lifnei Moshe, and they stood up before Moshe, va'anashim b'nei Yisrael, and people, the word anashim always represent important people. 250, exactly like the word ner, the candle, because they were the candle of Am Yisrael in terms of importance. Nesiye Eida, they were the prince of the assembly. Periye Moyed, look how it's written, missing a yud. What is Keriyah Moed? When HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to announce something directly to the Bnei Israel, they were called to the Oyhel Moed. So they were part of those who could hear the voice coming to the Oyhel Moed. Anshe Shem, they all had a Shem Tov, they all were famous. In Parshas Pinchas, it says, Hu Dasan Va'aviram, this is Dasan Va'aviram, look at Keruei. Not there's a Vav, but it's written Keriyah. So we have three orthographs here for Keriyah. Come on. If someone tells me the pasuk doesn't want to say something, then doesn't know his right from his left. About the same story, the same people, we have three ways, three orthographs for the same words. I'll give you one shot only on this, even though I went deeper on this, but I'll give you one shot. Asher hitzu al Moshe ve'al Aharon, they raised against Moshe and Aharon, ba'das Korach, in the assembly of Korach, ba'atzoisam al Hashem. We never seen that they went after HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We did see that they were trying to fight Aaron for the Kehuna. So I told you just before we start seeing the pasuk, Moshe was Hevel. Hevel, says the Riyah Kodesh, equals 37. So there were 30. So remember, Hevel is the second son of Adam. He's the one coming after Cain. So Cain took all the bad of the Nachash that he put in Chava. So that's what he was all bad. But Hevel was mostly good. So whatever he did, so far in his short life, he only bettered himself. But he was missing still 308 nitzoitzos, sparkles, to correct. And if you take both of them, 337 and 308 equals Moshe, 345. So the Ari HaKadosh says Moshe was a Gilgul of Hevel, and he corrected the 303 sparkles that Hevel could not do. So Hevel was totally completed. Now, if you take our 308 incomplete equals Korach. Here's our body. So says the Ari HaKadosh, Korach also was from Hevel. Moshe and Korach were both from Hevel. So the Ari HaKadosh says, you're going to ask me, how can it be a Gilgul is one person? How can two people be a Gilgul of one person? How is it possible? It's because a person is divided in three components: Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. And since he's divided in three people, in three components, each component goes to a different person. Cain was divided among Shivasayim Yukam Cain. So that he learns from this word Yukam. Yud is Yisroi, he had the Neshama. Kuf is Korach, and Mem is the Mitzri. And it's a whole concept, it's a whole different share. I can't go, too deep into it. I just want you to know that there were different forces here that also came into play. So what came into play is like when Korach started the Machlokes, right away, the Ruach of Cain, the spirit of Cain came into him. Why? Because Cain started the Machlokes. Cain was the first person to start the Machlokes. Cain was the first person to realize HaKadosh Baruch Hu is good. He gave us everything. And I split earth with my brother. I have to say thanks to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. However, I can't give him anything much. I have to give him linen, which is the worst offering, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't accept it. That same person, look at this. Now we're talking psychology. Hevel did not wake up first to understand that he has to bring a korban to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But once he woke up, he brought the best one. Cain woke up first, but putting the hand in the pocket, this he couldn't. What explains? Can we have a definition? Because now we see with Korach on one hand, we don't understand the man. You're the richest, you have the best place. And still, you're acting like the worst idiot. On the other hand, we have Cain, which is not the best guy, created with mostly the Zohar of the Nachash, of the Satan going with his mother, so he got more. So you can understand Cain better than you can understand Korach. But still, Cain had the awareness of bringing an offering to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, saying thank you. However, when comes the fact to act, he's unable. Let's put again the parallel right next to it. Korach is the achieved person, the opposite of Cain. Has everything he wants. Beauty, tallness, everything you can think of, Korach had it. What was he missing? So why is he looking for something he is missing? That's the midah of Haman. What was Haman doing? Haman wanted everyone to bow down to him, but there was only one person that would not. In the 127 nations that Achashverosh was controlling, there was only one man, and this man was Mordechai. And Haman puts on the scale Mordechai and the 127 nations. It doesn't make any sense. But the coincidence, I didn't want to mention it, but I will. No, this is not what it was. Oh, no, cancel. I don't know how to close it. So share screen. Haman says, "V'chol ze nu shave li." Everything I have is worthless because Mordechai, and it's incomprehensible. But you know, the interesting part is, if you take these letters, I'm going to highlight them. In other words, this is the result. Hey, Vav, Hey, Yud. What do you guys see here? Can someone tell me? Well,
Yud K Vav K.
Very good. Inverted. Totally inverted. Yud K Vav K. This is the tziruf. I mean, this is the way. This is the name Yud K Vav K of the month of Tammuz on the very same passage. When do we read Korach? In Tammuz always. Now you see the relationship to Haman, that it's not up in the air that we're trying to make. No. Here, Korach had everything. He inverted everything that happened in that month, inverted the name of Hashem. What is the name of Hashem? Is Shalom, peace. What is Machlokes? Machlokes destroy Shalom. Why is Shalom the name of Hashem? This equals to 376. Now, if you take a Yud, so each one the next letter, times Hey. Then the next letter back, so in two ways, Hey times Yud. Then we take the next one, Hey times Vav, Vav times Hey. And then we take the next one, Vav times Hey, but there's no letter after, so we stop right there, equals 376. So the letters of the name of Hashem hitting each other to bring out light. What is that light? Is Shalom. Comes Korach, the man that has no reason to come out and fight because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him more than everything. And this guy is the very guy we have a question about. And we need to answer what is the reason and what is the consequence. Because the reason I don't care no more, because what was done is done. But we need to learn from the consequence. We can't be like him, not drawing lessons from the consequence. What does he come Korach? Okay, there's a few, and each one is Divrei Elokim Chaim. There's a few reasons, there's a few explanation how Korach came out in Machlokes. Rashi brings one from the Tanchuma. It's only one, but he brings the second one later And they came, all of them, with a tzitzis. I'm very tempted to tell you something else beforehand. Sorry. And it's part of the, finishing on something I didn't want to tell you, just to show you the depth of Torah, how amazing it is. Remember, I talked about the Gilgul, everything, Yisro. So it says in the Pasuk, Shiva Saim, 7 times you come kind, you come. It's written like this without a vowel. And it's because people may not know, you come. So first Yud is Yisro, second is Korach, the third is the Mitzri. I'm not going to explain this, but I want to show you something, such a greatness in the Torah. Yisro, and we're going to use it later. So I can say, Yisro equals, I don't know why he writes like this now. I want this. Yisro equals 616. Equals all the names in the Bina. I'll explain it, don't worry. You know them, you just don't remember them. These are, okay. No, this has, there we go. So when you take the 3, since 2 are similar, we usually only call them like this, and at 255. But really there are 2 kasar, 2 aleph, hey, yud, hey. And in the kavanas of Yom Kippur, we use it twice. On the first 2 brachas, this is the kavana on Yom Kippur in the on Magen Avram and Mechaya Mesim and Mechaya Mesim. This is on when we say the Shem Hashem, that's what we have in mind. And then this is on Atakadosh, and this is the next the 4th bracha of the day. So if you take 4,655 plus 161 equals 616. Yisro, who was in the depth of Avodah Zarah and everything, raised himself. That's why this new name was given to him. He was never called Yisro. To tell his story that he arrived till the Bina. However, Korach, no, let's see here. If you take this number, compared to this number, what do you see? Someone sees anything in between these 2 numbers? This one is half this one. 308 is half 616. What did he do, Korach? Say the Zohar, Palag, he divided. When a person goes into machlokes, he does not divide the other, he divides himself. The Zohar comes and says a tremendous yesod. The Torah says, don't envy. Why? Because what you're seeking, you will never reach, and what you have, you will lose. Machlokes has one equation. Yes, it's tempting as an emotional level. However, it has a realistic level. And the Zohar reveals it. What you're seeking, you will never reach, even though you might think you have reached it. And what you have, you will lose. In other words, the machlokes affects you more than it affects him. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to if that person deserves to have a certain level of punishment, yes, it will affect him a little bit, but definitely not as much as he affect the guy who's starting the machlokes. This guy who's starting the machlokes, even what he has is going to lose. So now let's go back where, I just stopped you. So he's starting one of the explanation. He takes the tzitzis and he tells Moshe Rabbeinu, honestly, you're talking to Hashem. Well, this Korach is, sorry, and no word to explain my feeling about the level of astonishment I have on such a great person. You see Moshe Rabbeinu going on Har Sinai to Hashem. You see Moshe Rabbeinu after the ego getting kapara on Hashem. You see Moshe Rabbeinu doing miracle after miracle from Yetzias Mitzrayim on. You see Moshe Rabbeinu stopping every Magefa. You question him. You're going to question him about the tzitzis. Hashem says we have to put the threads of white and blue. And now you go to Moshe Rabbeinu and ask him a question. If a tzitzis is totally, what do you call this? Payless blue, will it still require to have a blue thread? Moshe Rabbeinu said, yes, obviously, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says you have to put the tzitzis. They laughed at Moshe Rabbeinu as if he was, He said, Moshe Rabbeinu, then we know that everything you tell us that is from Hashem is not from Hashem. It's from you. You invented it. And since we don't trust you about the tzitzis, we neither trust you about Hashem telling you that Aharon should be the Kohen Gadol. Scratching my head again. We know that no Kohen can approach the Kodesh HaKodashim. The two sons of Aharon that approached it, Nadav and Avihu, what happened to them? The Aharon HaKodesh going, boop, and killed them from the inside. Means there was a sparkle came and a fire from the inside killed them. You see Aharon HaKohen doing the kapara of Yom Kippur. You see the band turning from red to white. You see him going inside the Kodesh HaKodashim many times and putting Ketores and coming back out alive. And you'd say, you learned person, you say that the same way, even if Moshe Rabbeinu had been wronged about the tzitzis, how can you rationalize the fact that, oh, Aharon also is not a Kohen Gadol? So how did he go into the Kodesh HaKodashim and came out? You want to go into the Kodesh HaKodashim? Okay, try it. Oh, no, that's not what we asked. That's not what we asked, but it cannot be him. How did they all try? Moshe Rabbeinu told them, it's about time to try to answer a little bit of this amazing, even though we will never understand. Because remember, machlokes is emotional. Once you want to translate emotional to the mind, there's no translation possible. That's why the mind should always be in control of the heart, because the heart is uncontrollable. He has envies, he has everything, and the mind has to always point it to the Torah to calm the passion. So now we have this Korach attacking the tzitzis. Basically, the Zohar said that he went to 3 levels. he started with Aaron. He wanted to be Kohen Gadol. Rashi explained that he saw that Shmuel will be worth like Moshe and Aharon. Let's not go into this. I don't want to lose the thread of explaining that part, because it's very important for all of us to know how far we have to run away from machlokes. Besides that, the Chida says, Reb Chaim Palagi, that one machlokes doesn't have to be a virulent machlokes. One machlokes removes 100 gzeres of parnasa. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to come 100. Now, for that person to have parnasa, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to come 101 time and gazer parnasa. We all know how hard it is to trigger HaKadosh Baruch Hu to make one gzera parnasa. 100 times for one machlokes. So if the person did 2, well, it's 200. 300. Does he have a chance to come out of this? Yes. But that's the price to pay. So 3 levels here. First level, he went to Aaron. Even though we know now it makes no sense. Then he went to Moshe. Then he went to Hashem. And we're going to see that Korach, so basically has created his own din. Nothing was invented. It's not a punishment like here. Someone evade taxes. One is going to get a slap on the hand. The other guy is going to get 3, 5, 10 years, anything like this. It's not like this. It's not up to the judge. It's up to the person. HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts it in the person to define his own judgment. Let's go into the don't want to go too heavy, but let's try to understand. And I think this is going to enlighten a lot more than me giving you even going to Gilgulim, it's going to be a lot easier. So we have, it says, Vayikach Korach, and it doesn't say why he took. Fine. So we take Vayikach Korach equals 432. So what did he take at 432? He took away the Achdus and Ahava from Bnei Israel. When someone makes a machlokes, he breaches. Remember, Achdus is 419, Gematria Yom Kippurim. When a person touches this, he removes almost himself from the possibility of coming back for tshuva. Korach, if you want to know really what's inside him, let's open it up. Kuf, Reish, Ches equal 949. Okay, my dear Korach, what was your test? What were you supposed to do? What is your mission in this world? That's your mission. You open the name of a person, Everything is in the letters. Letters don't lie. And you see what was his mission. And what did he do? Complete inverted the mission. This would have taken its full chokhmah. 13 times chokhmah equals the same thing. But what did he do? No, he lets his emotion, his envy, his basic instincts take over all the greatness that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him. His mission was Ahavas Yisrael, at no cost, to make a discord, to make a machlokes. Keep the achdus, in contrary, work toward the achdus of Am Yisrael. What has he done? The opposite of his mission. We know how did he achieve his mission? Everything is in these two words. He's a Levi. I should not mention this one because we're going to go sideways. The Navi Hosea, and we say this after on Shabbat Shuvah, Kechu imachem devarim veshuvu el Hashem. Take with you words and return to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. In other words, pray, say it, that you're sorry. Don't be ashamed. Just say to Hashem that you're sorry. That's all Hashem wants. The Midrash Tanchuma says, how did he convince them? Korach, he came with a soft tongue. He used the technique of the Nachash. And this is how he tempted the people, with soft words. Kechu imachem devarim. No, when we speak soft words, we take with us words. Is veshuvu el Hashem. These words have a high mission. But what did Korach do? He convinced them that he was all L'Shem Hashem. His intention were never for himself, Chas v'Shalom. He was all for a higher level. The proof is this equals 5 times chesed. I'm telling you, these words are going to give us all the pshatim you can see just anywhere. But really, what did he do? Exactly like Bilam. As is mentioned in the Torah, his name, in Parshas Vayishlach, Bela ben Be'or, as a king. Here he is. This is what he took Korach. Yes, Korach had some darkness inside him. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him everything on the outside in order to bring this light internally and see and thank Hashem for the greatness, what he has done for him. But this person was impossible, it was impossible for him to internalize despite the goodness his eyes could see. The Gemara says in Kuftes Amud Beis, I think it is in Sanhedrin, that Korach had so many chambers, coffers, put it of gold and gems, that he needed 300 white donkeys just to carry the keys. Why white donkeys? Because we know that the Chamor of Luba, the Libyan donkey, can carry a lot more, is much stronger than the other donkeys. But this tells you The Gemara says, and the Gemara just wants to give us an image here how rich Korach was. You were not missing anything. Why not live well? You already have enough honor. No, you want all the honor. Oh, no, that belongs to Hashem. So we see Korach touched something in the Mishnah that we called Hina Taiva Kavod. He jealous, he wanted, and what did he want? Honors. Hina Taiva Kavod equal 600 equal tzitzis. No wonder he doesn't want to hear about the tzitzis, this guy, because this antagonizes his own thing. He tried to rationalize that he's holy and he has a purpose, a higher purpose for what he's going after Moshe Rabbeinu, and he's not right and everything. And he uses what? HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us to do the mitzvah of tzitzis, to remember and to fight those things. So what happens if someone doesn't have tzitzis? In other words, okay, not that he fights tzitzis. Obviously, he gets into the club. Chet, Pesha, all right. Gemara says Chet is an inadvertent mistake. Someone sinned inadvertently, is shogeg. Pesha is intentionally, but he's tempted by his Yetzer Hara. Avain, now it's toward up there. Tzitzis protects the person from this and from this. And even if someone Chas v'Shalom fell into it, through the tzitzis, you have a higher connection and you can gain tshuva. But this guy was unable to, I wanted to show you, yeah. And what did he use, Korach, to achieve his, now that we have Kechui Machem Devarim, he spoke, he used his mouth. In other words, not only did he use his mouth in order to conflict with Moshe Rabbeinu and Aharon HaKohen, but he used his mouth to trick others. The pasuk says, and I brought it a little bit further. I don't know why it goes that far, but anyway. Shatu bashamayim pihem. Their mouth goes after shamayim. Really, when someone starts misusing his mouth, the effect of it is towards Hashem. Ulshoinam, and the tongue tihalach baaretz. However, the destruction of the tongue goes on earth. And David HaMelech gives another pasuk. Bnei Adam, people, Shinehem Chanis. Their teeth are like a spear. Vechitzim, and arrows. Ulshoinam cherev chada, and the tongue is like a very sharp sword. Says the Kli Yakar in his tremendous sefer, the Sifsei Das. If you take Korach, you're going to see that he has done this. And everything will start falling back into place. Korach equal Keshes, the arch, Roimach, the spear, Kerev. He has used his mouth fully. So here you can see why are the teeth compared to a spear? HaKadosh Baruch Hu created barriers in the mouth. So when the sound comes from the throat, from the vocal cords, it's still just a sound. Now, in order to form a sentence from that sound, you need the mouth at 3 levels, from the back of the mouth all the way to the front of the mouth. And since a person doesn't use his natural guards in order to prevent this, so it's considered that each one is having an effect. So as an arch, as a spear, and and this is what Korach did. So what does it mean to us? Because we could not understand what happened to Korach. We could not understand just for the sake of it. If we take these 3 things to understand the destruction it brings, and you're going to see where I'm going to go in just a second. This equals to 1264. Twice Erech Apayim. That's correct. Verav Chesed. You're removing HaKadosh Baruch Hu capacity, Kaviyachol, to extend chance to someone who sins, and all the chasadim. The person falls in the din. If you take just this, okay, maybe I'll do it a different way. When we ask the question about, it says Kyrie, about, the people, different orthograph, equals 632 equals, and I'm going to explain all this because all this goes with one explanation. And obviously there's a lot more to this 632. I can go deeper, explain you in the names, in the shemes of this, what are the shemes behind it, where is he affected, and so forth. However, since it's not going to bring you the point of the knowledge I want to bring you, then there's no point going deeper. And I'm going to finish on this. When a person, and we've learned it, soils his mouth, you may know from Miriam, and you know I should not do it. You may know about the meraglim. And it's wrong to trigger the question by saying, how did he do this? When a person is misusing his mouth, his entire body becomes a different kli, a different structure. Beforehand, he was a structure from the Kedusha. Then you can ask logical questions. You knew Torah, you knew this, so you can trigger this and this. Once a person is misusing his mouth, we learned it by the Metzoira, all his 10 spheres are becoming 10 spheres of the Tumah. His neshama has left. And how is he alive? Because he gets a neshama from the Sitra Achra, from the Nachash, from the Malach HaMaves. He's being controlled totally by the Malach HaMaves. Now that he fell into it, he is one piece of Tumah. And all he's going to do is keep up. Where is the nest of the Malach HaMaves? In the 7th level of the Gehinnom. Where did the Gemara in Ein Dalet in Barbasra, where did Korach end up? The 7th level of the Gehinnom. Whatever you take, this world is free. You're in a store. You can take whatever you want for yourself, but there's a cashier at the end. You got to pay. Korach thought, I'm a big person, everything. He started by making a mistake. When you have one little stain on a white shirt, it stands out. If it was a blue shirt, much less. If it was a dark color shirt, you wouldn't see it. But Korach was all white. He misused his mouth. This is what the Torah tells us, came to teach us in this parsha. Korach Palag, he wanted to divide, he divided himself. He was very rich. Everything and his wealth came down to him to Gehinnom. What's the point? He was famous. What kind of famous? Didn't get him to Gan Eden. He got him to Gehinnom. For what? For misusing his mouth. Plus, what I mentioned by the Chid and Reb Chaim Palagi, that a person loses chas v'shalom his parnasa with one machlokes. I didn't start it. Zohar says, machzik b'machlokes, if you hold on to it, if you're a partner to it. You don't have to be the one who triggered. So a person who has started a machlokes, you don't want to know what is his din. You should feel pity for him, but nothing else. And if he started with you, you have to know the gain that you're gaining from it is, Chafetz Chaim says, when a person goes to the other side, he said, please give me one more bizayon. Once you're going to see the tremendous reward for a bizayon which you did not answer, you're going to say, give me one more bizayon. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.